Hey, it's me, Ashley Keller Williams Real Estate. Okay, so we're going to get into this book. Here's what it's called, Backdoor Revolution. So this is the book that I was telling you about, that I was going to take you on the journey with me and just go through the book with you guys and kind of pull out the nuggets that I thought were really important. So we're just in the first few chapters. He basically talks about the different words that are used to mean ADU, right? So there's kind of this, in my opinion, this sort of clinical maybe it's not the right institutional name or political name, like accessory dwelling unit. Okay, but sometimes they're called mother-in-laws. Sometimes they'll be advertised in real estate called multi-generational living, right? So basically what it is it's kind of like a smaller apartment that is maybe a duplex or whatever, but it's smaller, right? So it's maybe it's 400 square feet or 500 square feet. And in here, he talks about the different types of ADUs you can have, right? So, you could have a detached ADU. You could have a ADU that's built out in a basement, or one that's built into a garage. Or I've seen some that are they're built inside of the house. So I think maybe sometimes what happens is they have an attached garage, and they convert that attached garage into an ADU. And so then it's part of the house, right? So you walk in and it's 400 or 500 square feet, and it's a studio, right? So it has bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, all the pieces. Okay. So the really cool thing is he kind of lays out the benefits. Now, I think that there are some social and economic benefits that are clear, right? If you can have an ADU as a part of your house, you might be able to decrease your overall living expenses, right? And, at the same time provide maybe an Airbnb or a long-term rental to somebody else at, not necessarily a reduced cost, but at a better market rate than them actually going out and purchasing a home. See, that's the key. The other thing that I really like is he really hits on the social stuff. So one of the things that I think is really, really important here is social connection, especially when we're thinking about overall happiness, right? Happiness for the people that are living there, happiness, together as, we're all living together. We're all neighbors, it's a little bit strange, but, we're in a city. And, it might not feel like we're all neighbors, but we are actually all neighbors. We all live really close to each other, and, all the things that we do impact each other. And so I think from a social connection perspective, I think that ADUs could be a really good idea, especially when we're thinking about, seniors, right? That, maybe want to stay in their older home, and the thing that they could do would be to maybe take a basement or, another structure and convert it to an ADU so that they could still afford to live in a neighborhood that they're familiar with. And also, when we're thinking about, multi-generational living, right? So if you have groups of people that are living together and, kind of staying in that close-knit social network, right? So the social connection score is super important. He does briefly touch a little bit on policy, and I think we're, you're probably hearing about it in the news a lot more, right? Because right now we're in the middle of a housing crisis. So we're oh my gosh, what are we going to do? How are we going to get these additional housing units? And I know that ADUs have been, I think touted as a possible solution. And, how are we going to get density in the right places and all that stuff, especially with the way that, lots and stuff like that have been historically plotted in these urban areas, right? So ADUs are one thing that could possibly work. I'm not really I don't really have a dog in the fight either way here. But I could see how having an ADU could help somebody who wants to become a first-time home buyer who can't quite afford, that 3,000 square foot home in an established neighborhood, but they could afford, maybe something smaller, maybe 700 or 800 square feet in that established neighborhood, right? So, I think that there's, to me, some clear benefits for promoting home ownership and at the same time promoting social cohesion, right? Social connection and stuff like that. So I think it could be really cool. The other thing, so I'll just kind of like go quickly, is he talks a little bit about like the timeline and designing the ADU, and he said that the time frame can be 2 months to 2 years. So, we'll talk about this more as we go further, but basically there's the designing process. So what do you want this ADU to look like? And, that's going to just kind of vary depending on what you're doing. Are you going to convert an existing structure? Are you going to build detached ADU? Are you doing the design yourself? Are you hiring an architect? I mean, like, literally it's a blank canvas, right? So, the amount of time, it could vary, right? So I will say this, though, if you go the professional route where you hire an architect and you hire someone that's familiar with ADUs in the area that you're wanting to build, probably it's going to go a lot faster than if you, who maybe not is a builder, tries to like put together these plans. Just speaking from personal experience. So you have that process, and then you have the construction process. So he said the construction process can take 3 months to 2 years. He says on average it's 3 to 8 months. And I think what you'll find is it's 3 to 8 months if you hire a professional contractor. If you try to do it yourself and, you're working full time, it might take you the full 2 years, right? Because you're going to get to the project when you can get to it. So it a little bit just depends on what the demands on your time are like and stuff like that. But, if you're thinking in the big picture, like, oh, okay, how can ADUs help my community? All right. Have in your mind, like, think about the timeline. It could be 2 years just to build one, and I'll put some interesting links, especially, for the city of Everett, and how many projects they've actually permitted as ADUs. And I think, we've seen them popping up here and there. So if you're watching this video and you live in the city of Everett and would like to have your ADU highlighted, let me know, because I will do an ADU tour. I've seen where they are. There's a couple here and there that I think are really clearly ADUs, and you can sort of see like the different ones. So there's some detached ones. I've seen some attached ones. So those are not as easy to see, but the detached ones you can definitely see. So that's the first video. So that's the first 2 chapters. The next video is going to be about financing the ADU. And I think that is probably going to be the most interesting, one of the most interesting chapters. I mean, I think I will merge it with, the cost management piece of it. And that way you can kind of see it all together as as a system. But, yeah, we'll go from there. So please like the video, like my page, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.